Dear darling soul, as I address you today, realize that my words are not expressed from a far off high position, however, from the profundities of limitless love that ties us together. It is with crushing sadness that I witness the hardships that you, my dearest creation, persevere in your natural process. However, it is with unwavering expectation and endless empathy that I contact guide you through the maze of life. From the snapshot of your beginning, I have looked after you, winding around the texture of your reality with strings of heavenly reason and unqualified love. In each heartbeat, in each breath, I'm with you, murmuring uplifting statements and consolation, pushing you towards the way of honorableness and edification. Yet, in the midst of the disorder and commotion of the world, it is not difficult to fail to focus on the heavenly flash that lives inside you. It is not difficult to capitulate to the charm of dimness, to be influenced by the murmurs of uncertainty and allurement. However, even at your breaking point, realize that you are rarely alone, for I'm the signal of light that guides you through the tempest. Today, as you stand at the junction of fate, I ask you to stop and pay attention to the delicate murmur of your spirit. Throw away the shackles of dread and vulnerability and embrace the endless expected that exists in you. For you are not simply a human being navigating the natural domain. You are a heavenly being, permeated with the ability to shape your own predetermination. Along these lines, my cherished, regard my words and allow them to resound profound inside your heart. For this time, as you open yourself to the limitless conceivable outcomes of the universe, you venture out towards an excursion of self-disclosure and profound arousing. May the radiance of my affection enlighten your way and guide you towards the satisfaction of your actual reason. My dear youngster, in the huge embroidery of presence there exists a power ancient, sneaking in the shadows and coaxing to the most profound openings of the human spirit. This power, known by many names, appears as the epitome of all that is in opposition to cherish and light. It is the enemy, the liar, the seducer, the actual embodiment of murkiness that looks to capture the unwary and steer them off course. All through your excursion, you will experience the alarm call of this noxious power enticing you with commitments of force, joy, and common addition. It will murmur sweet lies into the profundities of your being, asking you to spurn the way of uprightness in quest for passing cravings and transient joys. In any case, notice my admonition, dear youngster, for the way of dimness is laden with danger and misery. A way it drives just to void and pain, where the commitments of the enemy are nevertheless deceptions, veiling the real essence of its godful plan. However, in your haziest minutes, when the heaviness of the world pushes ahead upon you and the charm of obscurity appears to be compelling, recall that you are not exposed. Instead, you consumes the fire of heavenly truth, an encouraging sign that can penetrate through even the densest cloak of trickiness. Despite enticement, arm yourself with the shield of confidence and the sword of exemplary nature. Let the radiance of affection and sympathy guide your means, enlightening the way forward and banishing the shadows that try to inundate you. For it is through immovable confidence and resolute determination that you will arise triumphant in the fight against obscurity. Realize that you are never alone in this battle, for I am with you continuously, watching over you with an adoration that has no limits. Call upon me in your hour of need, and I will loan you solidarity to oppose the allurements that take steps to mislead you. Thus, my kid, stand firm notwithstanding affliction, and let the illumination of your spirit sparkle brilliantly against the infringing dimness. With confidence as your safeguard and love as your weapon, you will defeat each preliminary and arise victorious in favor of uprightness. Cherished youngster, in the tremendous spread of presence, there exists a domain outside human ability to grasp, a domain of endless excellence, whiteness, and timeless euphoria. It is a domain referred to humans as heaven, the heavenly dwelling place where the noble spirits track down comfort and satisfaction in the hug of heavenly effortlessness. In heaven, the exhausted track down rest and the wrecked view is recuperating. It is where each tear is cleaned away and each distress is changed into happiness. Here, the brilliant light of affection sparkles with unrestrained force, encompassing all who stay inside its blessed limits in a warm hug of genuine acknowledgement and unfathomable empathy. However, heaven isn't simply a far-off dream or a whimsical idea. A reality anticipates the people who walk the way of honesty and embrace the illumination of heavenly truth. It is a commitment murmured in the profundities of the spirit, an encouraging sign that directs the rebellious explorer home to the caring hug of their maker. My dear kid, don't surrender in that frame of mind of affliction, for heaven looks for you with great enthusiasm, prepared to invite you into its caring hug. Embrace the radiance of heavenly effortlessness, and allow it to enlighten your way, directing you nearer and nearer to the entryways of heaven. In your haziest minutes, when the weights of life weigh weighty upon your spirit, recall that heaven is definitely not a far-off dream, however a reality ready to be embraced. Let the commitment of heaven motivate you to continue on notwithstanding misfortune, realizing that each hardship you persevere through carries you one bit nearer to the everlasting ecstasy that is standing by you. In this way, my youngster noticed the call of heaven and allowed its guarantee to make you exuberantly pleased with trust and euphoria. Embrace the illumination of heavenly beauty and let it lead you home to the never-ending harmony and serenity of heaven. Darling kid, in the embroidery of presence there exists a shadowy domain, a domain covered in obscurity and depression, where the murmurs of perniciousness reverberation through the void. This domain is referred to humans as the void, the home of murkiness where the powers of evil hide and the spirits of the accursed track down torture. The chasm coaxes with a tempting charm, promising influence, joy, and commonwealth to the individuals who try to wander into its profundities. In any case, be careful, for the enticements of the chasm are nevertheless deceptions, veiling the real essence of its despondent profundities. In the void, the spirit is consumed by a voracious yearning, a long for power and control that can never be fulfilled. It is where the illumination of trust is stifled, and the blazes of despondency consume everlasting. My dear kid, regard my admonition and get some distance from the enticements of the chasm, for guarantees are nevertheless vacant falsehoods that lead just to demolish and obliteration. Try not to be influenced by the appeal of force with the commitment of calm and addition, for these are nevertheless momentary joys that evaporate like shadows in the radiance of truth. All things considered, look for comfort in the radiance of heavenly love and the glow of heavenly elegance, for they alone can direct you securely through the murkiness of the chasm. Trust in the force of goodness and uprightness, and allow them to be your directing light even with allurement and misery. Keep in mind, my youngster, that even in the most obscure of evenings, the radiance of heavenly love radiates brilliantly, enlightening the way to salvation and reclamation. In this way, don't flounder in your excursion, however walk relentlessly in the radiance of truth, realizing that I am consistently close by, directing you with affection and sympathy. In the midst of the hardships of mortal presence, there exists a signal of heavenly brilliance, a radiation of vast love and unimaginable empathy. This brilliant light, dear youngster, is the pith of great thoughtfulness, a power that rises above the limits of existence, enlightening the way to reclamation and timeless rapture. In the hug of grand thoughtfulness, the fatigued soul finds comfort, the wrecked heart views as mending, and the lost see as their way home. A delicate stroke mitigates the injuries of the soul, and a directing hand that drives the unruly soul back to the hug of heavenly love. My dear kid, hold nothing back from the brilliant gleam of grand benevolence, and let its glow wrap you in a sweeping of adoration and empathy. For in the hug of heavenly graciousness, you will track down the solidarity to beat affliction and the boldness to confront the preliminaries of moral precedence with unflinching confidence and versatility. Let the radiance of brilliant thoughtfulness be your directing star in the murkiness of vulnerability and sadness, and let its brilliance enlighten the way to salvation and everlasting satisfaction. For in the endless profundities of heavenly love, there exists a supply of generosity that has no limits, a repository from which you might attract strength and food your breaking point. Embrace the everlasting light of empathy, dear kid, and let it make you indescribably pleased with affection and effortlessness. For in the brilliance of radiant generosity, you will discover a sense of reconciliation, happiness, and everlasting salvation. In the unpredictable dance among light and shadow, the powers of dimness frequently hide in the openings of the human heart, murmuring tempting commitments of force, delight, and eminence. These enticements, darling, or the alarmed tunes of the underworld, occult embrace the way of murkiness and spurn the illumination of heavenly truth. As you venture through the maze of mortal presence, you will experience innumerable preliminaries and allurements, each introducing a chance to go up against the shadows inside and reaffirm your obligation to the way of honorableness. However, be careful, for the appeal of murkiness is powerful and its grip is quick and determined. The allurements of haziness might appear in different structures: covetousness, jealousy, disdain, and sadness, each trying to trap the unwary soul in its snare of double dealing and debasement. Yet, dread not, darling, for you are in good company in this otherworldly battle. I'm with you continuously, directing you through the turbulent waters of enticement and asking you to remain consistent with the way of light. To oppose the enticements of obscurity, you should initially recognize their reality inside you. Face the shadows that wait in the profundities of your spirit and focus the radiance of heavenly truth upon them. For it is exclusively by recognizing and standing up to the murkiness inside that you can conquer its impact and arise triumphant in the fight for your spirit. In any case, recall, dear youngster, the way to honorableness is generally difficult, and the allurements of haziness might test your determination deeply. In snapshots of shortcoming, go to me, and I will loan you strength and fortitude to endure the attack of enticement. Realize that you are equipped for conquering the enticements of obscurity, for inside you lies the flash of heavenly light, an encouraging sign that can never be quenched. Trust in the force of heavenly effortlessness, and let it guide you securely through the shadows to the everlasting light of salvation. In the midst of the haziness that takes steps to overwhelm the human soul, there sparkles an encouraging sign, a brilliant light that enlightens even the most obscure corners of the spirit. This light is the substance of heavenly elegance, a steadfast power of affection and empathy that streams perpetually from the core of creation. In your excursion through the maze of presence, it is not difficult to become entrapped by the shadows that wait every step of the way. The hardships of mortal life might diminish the brilliance of your soul, providing reason to feel ambiguous about uncertainty and gloom your way. However, even amidst misfortune, the radiance of heavenly elegance sparkles brilliantly, offering comfort and direction to all who look for its hug. Embrace the light inside you, darling, for it is the wellspring of your solidarity and flexibility. Permit the brilliance of heavenly beauty to enlighten your way and guide you through the preliminaries of life. For in the radiance of heavenly effortlessness, there is no murkiness that can't be dispersed, no hindrance that can't be survived. As you loll in the shine of heavenly elegance, you will observe that your heart is loaded up with affection and empathy for all creatures. The light inside you will transmit outward, contacting the distances of people around you and enlightening the world with its glow and magnificence. Yet recollect, dear youngster, that the illumination of heavenly elegance isn't a gift to be stored or stowed away. It is intended to be shared unreservedly with all who are out of luck, no matter what their station throughout everyday life or their previous offenses. Let your light sparkle splendidly, and let it act as an encouraging sign for all who are lost in the haziness. In the hug of heavenly effortlessness, there is recuperating and recharging, recovery and pardoning. Regardless of how far you might wander from the way of honesty, realize that you are never past the span of heavenly beauty. It is dependably there, standing by without complaining to invite you back into its caring hug. Thus, dear kid, hold nothing back from the brilliance of heavenly beauty and let it fill you with its vast love and sympathy. For in the radiance of heavenly elegance there is salvation and harmony, happiness and satisfaction unfathomable. My dear Kate, in the many-sided embroidery of presence, there exists a sensitive harmony among light and obscurity, great and fiendishness, honorableness and enticement. An equilibrium has persevered starting from the beginning of creation, molding the predetermination of humans and divine beings the same. Inside the profundities of your spirit lies a shadow, a dim and base power that tries to mislead you from the way of uprightness. The epitome of everything is base and bad, murmuring expressions of uncertainty and allurement into the openings of your brain. Be careful, dear kid, for the shadow inside is tricky and underhanded, equipped for entrapping even the most idealistic of spirits in its snare of untruths and double dealing. It goes after your shortcomings and uncertainties, enticing you with commitments of influence and joy, riches and brilliance. Be that as it may, know this: the way of haziness is a tricky one, loaded with risk and gloom. However its enticements might appear to be charming, they lead just to ruination and sadness, projecting your spirit into the pit of timeless anguish and torture. However, dread not, for you are in good company in your battle against the shadow inside. I'm with you continuously, directing you through the obscurity and driving you back into the light. With my solidarity as your safeguard and my adoration as your sword, you can conquer even the haziest of enticements and arise successful. Be that as it may, regard my admonition, dear youngster, for the way of honesty is definitely not a simple one to study. It requires unflinching confidence and enduring determination, a relentless obligation to truth and equity even with difficulty. You will be tried, enticed, and tempted, yet realize that I am consistently close by, prepared to loan you strength and backing in your hour of need. Thus, my youngster, don't be influenced by the appeal of haziness, nor be enticed by the commitments of force and joy it offers. All things being equal, stroll in the illumination of honorableness, and let your activities be directed by adoration, sympathy, and pardoning. For eventually, not the obscurity characterizes you, however, the light that sparkles from the inside. In the domain of presence, there exists a heavenly flash, a glinting fire of light that enlightens the haziest openings of your spirit. It is the embodiment of your being, the most flawless appearance of your deepest self, untainted by the shadows that look to overwhelm it. Inside the profundities of your heart lies the potential for reclamation, an encouraging sign that sparkles brilliantly in the midst of the infringing obscurity. It is an invitation to battle, a request to transcend the enticements of the world and embrace the light that stays inside you. However you might have wandered from the way of nobility, realize that looking for redemption is rarely past the point of no return. The excursion to recovery is definitely not a simple one. It is full of hardships, difficulties, and snags that will test the actual center of your being. In any case, dread not, for I'm here to direct you along the way to recovery, to loan you strength and backing as you leave on the sacrosanct journey. With each step you take, with each decision you make, I'm there adjacent to you, directing your strides and enlightening the way forward. To walk the way of recovery is to stand up to the dimness inside, to recognize your blemishes and flaws, and to endeavor towards a higher reason. It is an excursion of self-revelation and mindfulness, an excursion that will lead you to embrace the light that stays inside you and cast to the side the shadows that look to capture you. Realize that you genuinely deserve recovery, my cherished kid, regardless of how far you might have wandered from the way. Your previous slip-ups don't characterize you, nor do they decide your future. With boldness and assurance, you can defeat any obstruction that holds you up and arise more grounded and stronger than at any other time. Along these lines, my kid, don't lose trust, don't surrender. Embrace the light that stays inside you and let it guide you along the way to reclamation. For eventually, not the dimness characterizes you, however the light that sparkles from the inside. As you stand at the junction of predetermination, the reverberations of time everlasting resonate in your heart, calling you to settle on a decision that will shape the course of your reality. The everlasting fight among great and fiendish furies on, and you are nevertheless a simple human trapped in its middle, entrusted with the significant obligation of picking your way. In this enormous battle among light and dimness, you are confronted with a choice of vital significance, a choice that will decide the destiny of your spirit forever. On one hand, there lies the way of honorableness, enlightened by the brilliant sparkle of heavenly beauty and ideals. Then again, there lingers the way of obscurity, covered in the dinky profundities of enticement and sin. The decision before you is definitely not a simple one, for the appeal of obscurity is ever present, murmuring enticing commitments of force and joy. It is a way loaded with hazard, driving just to depression and obliteration. However, the way of honorableness isn't without its own difficulties, requiring undaunted confidence and unflinching determination to beat the preliminaries that lie ahead. As you stand at the cliff of predetermination, I entreat you to regard the voice of your heart, to pay attention to the murmurs of truth that reverberation in the profundities of your spirit. Take shrewdly, my youngster, for your choice will reverberate all through endlessness, molding the fate of your interminable soul. Realize that you don't walk this way alone, for I'm with you continuously, directing your strides and lighting your direction. In the midst of uncertainty and vulnerability, go to me, and I will be your solidarity, your shelter, and your salvation. Keep in mind, my kid, that the fight among great and evil isn't battled on far-off war zones or in grand domains outside human ability to grasp. It is battled inside the openings of your own heart, where the powers of light and obscurity strive for territory over your spirit. Eventually, the decision is yours and yours alone to make. Will you notice the call of honorableness and walk the way of excellence, or will you capitulate to the enticements of murkiness and embrace the way of wrongdoing? Pick astutely, my youngster, for your choice will shape your own predetermination, however the fate of all creation. May you track down the strength and boldness to pick the way of light, and may the timeless gifts of paradise arrive forever. With unfathomable love and unfaltering direction, your consistently present aid,